What's up, Android nerds? Mitesh here, and today I want to talk about the Galaxy S21 and whether or not Samsung cut out too many features from that phone to hit the lower price point of $800. Because if you guys have not heard, the Galaxy S21 cuts out a lot of features that the S20 had last year. And we're used to getting out maybe one or two features left off a new phone, like the headphone jack, for example. But this year, they've cut a lot of things. So in this video, I want to go over all the different things that Samsung cut out to hit that lower price point and figure out whether this phone is still worth buying for you or whether it might actually make more sense to buy like a used S20 instead, because honestly, they cut out a lot of things. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Alright, so I want to go in the order of what I think are the most important features that were cut to the least important features that are cut. And obviously it's going to depend on everybody else, but for me, this is the order that I think is most important. And we're going to start off by talking about the number one thing that was cut, and that is micro SD card expandability. So if you guys don't know, Samsung phones have had micro SD card expandability for basically forever now. So if whatever size of storage you got on the phone, you could always expand it by throwing in a micro SD card. And micro SD cards have gotten cheaper and cheaper, and you can throw in like huge micro SD cards for not very much money, or at least less money than what Samsung is going to charge you if you want to increase the base storage. For example, the S21 starts at 120 gigabytes of base storage, and for most people that might be good enough. It really kind of depends on how you use your phone, how many photos and videos you take, but it starts at 128 gigabytes, and to get another 128 gigabytes to go to 256, it costs $50. Now, that doesn't sound like too much, but a micro SD card that's 128 gigabytes only costs like 20 bucks. You can even in fact get a 256 gigabyte micro SD card, and that's only going to cost you like $40. And also the fact is, with the lack of micro SD card expandability, you have to make the choice of how much storage you need at the time of purchase versus later on, maybe like 2 years down the road, you realize like, hey, I'm really running out of storage, but I want to keep using this phone because it still works really well. Well, if you had micro SD card expandability, you could just throw a micro SD card in there, move some of the files off to that thing, and you'd be fine. But now, you have to just pick whatever you think is going to be right, whatever's going to last you for the lifetime of the phone. And that really kind of sucks, because it's just nice to be able to expand your hardware instead of having it, because there's no other way to expand your storage capacity on this thing. What you get is what you get now. So that part really sucks. And the other reason that this feature in particular I think matters is the fact that Google Photos is going to take away the free backup that we've all become used to. So in June, no more free Google Photo backups, even at high quality. No more free backups. Now it's going to start counting against your storage cap in Google Drive. So you're going to run out of that storage really, really quickly. So having that micro SD card expandability was a nice feature to have. Now you're just gonna have to basically pay for one service or another to expand your storage, and once again, that just kind of sucks. So yeah, that is not a great feature to lose. Number two is also another important thing depending on who you are. So if you guys don't know, Samsung has had this technology called MST, and that is something that worked with Samsung Pay to let you pay basically any and every card reader. So most technologies like Apple Pay and Google Pay, they use NFC for payments. It's contactless payments, so you just tap your phone against it to pay. But not every place accepts NFC payments. A lot of grocery stores don't accept NFC payments. But if you had Samsung Pay, if you had this MST technology, it's just a way to fake out a card reader into thinking that you've swiped a card that you have not done. It's really, really cool technology. And sadly, it's no longer going to be offered inside of Samsung Pay anymore. And basically, it's taking away any and every reason you had to use Samsung Pay. All right, next up at number 3, we have another weird move by Samsung, and that is the fact that they've lowered the amount of RAM you can have with the S21 lineup of phones from 12 gigabytes with the S20 to 8 gigabytes with the S21. Now, the reason this is slowed low down on the list is because I don't think most people are making full use of the 12 gigabytes we had with the S20. And I honestly think Samsung jumped the gun by going from 6 gigabytes of RAM to 12 gigabytes of RAM with the S20. In fact, I really think they could have just stuck with 8 gigabytes last year, and this wouldn't be a thing this year, now that they've stepped down to 8 gigabytes. But it is a thing, the fact that they've stepped down from 12 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes, you are getting a downgrade here. So if you care about it, there you go, it's something worth knowing. If you're someone who does a lot of video editing on their phone, this might affect you, but otherwise, for most people, I don't think this will be a big deal. Another place where we're seeing a downgrade is in the screen. Now, the screen is actually getting an upgrade in the fact that it's going to be a dynamic screen now, so you can go from 120 hertz all the way down to 48 hertz, which is, it's going to save you a lot of battery life when you don't need the screen to refresh that fast. It's really nice to have, but now you actually do have 1080p resolution on the screen. Now, me personally, I don't think this is a huge deal, but last year we did have 1440p screens at 120 hertz. but they weren't actually 1440p at 120 Hz because they were stuck to 1080p. And out of the box, Samsung displays are always set to 1080p. So the fact that this year they're just giving you a 1080p display, there might be some noticeable loss in quality in terms of the display, at least in terms of the resolution. I don't know how many people have sharp enough eyes to really notice that. But if you're someone who really notices resolution, yeah, this is definitely a downgrade. And then finally, we have two more things mentioned here. One is the smallest of the Galaxy S21s has a plastic back now. I honestly don't think this should matter to anybody. Yes, glass is considered a more premium material, but honestly, this plastic, first of all, it looks good. It's not like that cheap plastic stuff that they've had on their A series of phones, which gets fingerprints like crazy. This seems like a matte plastic and it comes in a variety of colors, so I'm actually pretty okay with this because, once again, glass backs shatter, plastic backs don't. Just kind of a nice thing to have. And the fact that it comes in multiple colors is, once again, just kind of nice. And then the other thing to mention is the fact that there will be no charger inside of the box. So you will get a cable. You're getting a USB-C to USB-C cable, which is nice. I'm really happy Samsung decided to go with a USB-C to USB-C cable. Those are really nice. But the fact is, you are no longer going to have a charger in the box, which is not surprising. That is the way the industry is going. Honestly, I will be very surprised if any other Android manufacturer decides to offer chargers inside of the box this year. Maybe OnePlus will, but otherwise, I don't see most other manufacturers doing it. So that is a loss, but I don't consider that to be anything that's should be really noted because all manufacturers are going to be doing this. So yeah, those are all the features that have been cut going from the S20 to the S21. So the real question is, should you buy the S21? It is a lower price point of $800 and there are a ton of great deals out there. Like, especially if you have like an S10, you can get like $550 in trade-in value for any of your S10 phones if you trade it into like the Samsung store for the new S21. So you can get a really good deal on an S21. But is it worth it? That's something that you're going to have to decide, because if any of these features are deal breakers for you, if you need that micro SD card expandability, if you need MST Pay, or if you need, I don't know, what are the other things? If you need 12 gigabytes of RAM or 1440p resolution screen, this might be a good year to look at buying like a used Galaxy S20, because they're no longer selling the Galaxy S20 either. But I still think that the S21 is going to be a great flagship. Of course it is. Samsung still puts in really good hardware. It's just, is it worth the money or not? I mean, it feels like you're not getting as much value as you would have last year, but let's face it, you had to pay $200 more last year. So it's really gonna depend on what you wanna do with your phone. But yeah, with that, that's pretty much it for this video. Like this if you liked it, subscribe if you guys loved it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.